And I think that's it.
All right. Good morning. We are streaming live to the Military Retirement Blueprint YouTube channel, and it looks like both my and Mike's LinkedIn profiles. So
How about
hopefully your catch us there. We figured out some technology, but if you are just seeing us for the first time,
technology is always a wonderful thing when it works, right? That's
yeah,
what I like
right.
to say. Yeah,
It allows us to at least do this, and if we can get some of the bonus features, then
sure.
yay.
Fun, fun.
But yeah, if you're joining us for the first time, this is the Military Retirement Blueprint show where Mike and I get together every week or so and discuss the topics that come up when we're talking with our members and clients on a day-to-day basis about various aspects of their career progression. They're planning for post-military life, or even after they've gotten out of the military and
Yeah,
had some time to see how things played out, and maybe want to come back for some guidance or feedback on stuff. I'm the founder of US Vet Wealth, and we focus on the insurance aspect and some of the financial retirement planning things that come up, the questions when it comes to your benefits and when and how to look at alternatives. And Mike is the CEO of the Blue Water Advisors, where we're really diving in mostly on this show on the stressful aspects of, hey, what do I do
yeah,
next, right? And there is nobody giving me orders anymore, and
right.
I've got to own this. I got to gather resources, build a network, and figure out what's best for me. So Mike, I had a conversation with a client last night.
Hmm.
Great guy. He got to working with us about 2 years before his transition to get the SBP thing out of the
Yeah,
way. But he's now in his 6-month window looking for a job, and starting to go through the resources. Hadn't heard about Blue Water yet, so I introduced him to everything. Told him
sure.
to watch the show. But he was realizing, like, yeah, I'm working with one of the recruiting firms, and I realized, like, I want to stay where I'm at, but they're probably going to place me somewhere. I'm going to have to move my family and all that kind of stuff. I was like, yeah, you gotta check out Blue
Was
Water.
this the individual we talked about the other day? He said he's working with I guess it's a placement firm, right? Is that
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Or
One
yeah,
one of the
okay.
one of the placement
One of the
firms, and
popular ones. I'm sure everybody would recognize it, right?
and and and
Yeah.
that's common, and it's understandable to look at that route. But I think what we want to talk about today is uh really the opportunity. Sometimes just call it a challenge. All right, how do I find the right fit? What's going to be best for me and my family? But I like to think of it as an opportunity. This is the
Sure.
first time somebody's not giving you PCS orders. Ultimately you get to
Yeah.
choose.
Let's figure it out. Yeah.
And Mike, I know you've had obviously, every day you probably get different stories back and forth. So yeah, where do you want to dive in on this
It's
topic,
such a
man?
it's there's always so much to talk about. It's and for the listeners out there, right? Scott and I usually huddle up, a day prior to this, and we go, "Hey man, what do you want to talk about? What do you want to talk about?" Well, the fact of the matter is, Scott, we could probably just skip that pre-planning for the show. We could log on because there's always so much to talk about,
Yeah,
right?
and it
You
never
have
changes.
Yeah, you have people that come to you. We certainly have members approaching us, and just engaging vicariously through their experiences or challenges gives us more than enough to talk about, right? But I think last week, let's see, we talked about, right, the downtime of the holidays, right, and how to
Yeah,
make best use of that time, right? We talked about utilizing it for introspection, right? Hey, what's important to you in the next phase of your life as you're stepping out of uniform into the at will work environment? Um, identifying those big rocks, what's important to you, and then making good use of that time in the networking realm, right? And part of what we touched on last week, and I think we can expound upon here this morning, is how to assess a good fit. And listen, I started to before we went live, just for the listeners, but I'll carry on this conversation with you, Scott. Like, I'll just be open kimono, right? And for Blue Water members out there, if you're listening, everybody knows that, for our membership, once they land and find their next success, right? This week has been amazing. Companies like Carmex, companies like Saronic, companies like another member pursued Lockheed Martin, and the list goes on. There's been 4 or 5 over the last 3 or 4 days where members are receiving offer letters, negotiating that compensation moving forward, right?
Cool.
Another one was RSM, right? In fact, I'm looking at it here on the desk right here in front of me. We help our members navigate those offers because often that language is confusing. They don't understand it, right? What can I negotiate? What can I not negotiate? What does this mean? Is this a good offer? Is it not a good offer, right? We have a lot of analytical insight and we're able to help members with that. And I love that we have the analytical data. And for the listeners out there, what does that mean? Analytical data. Well, this is not just Scott Tucker or Mike Wallace saying, hey, I think that's a pretty good offer. If it were me, I would take that. Like that's completely, subjective, right? But an objective analytical approach is, hey, you know what? I've got 8 other offers on file for members that have similar backgrounds to you. Your offer is in the top 22% of all these offers. I think that's a very fair and competitive offer. You with me? I mean, it's just math. It's just numbers. Yeah. And I love having those discussions. But I digress a little bit. But, as part of what we talked about last week, it alluded to how members assess, what good fits are. And as members within the Blue Water Network, fill out a landing report and we secure those keen insights, right, for future members to check out and review if they are, desiring to pursue a similar company or industry. It can become really good insight on how to make that pursuit. Well, man, I'm looking through this landing report. We had a member who landed and, Steve Weeman, myself, Dave Wadlick, Brian, like many of our mentors engaged with this person on several different occasions on fronts to help them navigate this time. And this individual fills out a landing report. And one of the last questions we just said, hey, was Blue Water a help to you in your career progression? What recommendations would you have for us to do better? Right. And we opened the door. And they said, well, yeah, Blue Water was a help, but, one of the hardest things about transition is trying to understand if this is the right fit for me. I'm not really sure if I want to do this or not. And Blue Water could do a better job of, finding and ensuring that whatever I'm going to do is really good. It was language on that, right? It was like not owning this. And don't misread me. We don't do what we do here at Blue Water to chase accolades. And for anybody listening, this is a very delicate topic, right? Because we are invested in our members. We want them to do very well. And we're going to go that extra mile. But then to read it and go, well, yeah, you were kind of a help, but you didn't solve it 100% for me. You didn't lay it in my lap and completely bake it and done. And I'm like, okay, look, we are a great family. We are a great tribe to be a part of. But hang with me here, Scott, when I say this, because I don't want it to be off-putting to you or any of our members, but there has to be some level of ownership. I, Mike Wallace, cannot interview for you as much as what I would like to. I love interviewing. I love going out there. I love the challenge of answering these questions. I, Mike Wallace, cannot negotiate your compensation. I would love to. I love doing that. And people that know me and who have had mentor sessions with me on how to negotiate compensation, they know I get really excited about it because I see it as a challenge. We're starting here. How do I get to here? And what's the language associated into having that? And we do very well with our members. And I would say on behalf of our members, to help them navigate towards a very fair and competitive offer, right? But at the end of the day, I cannot do those things for you. I can tell you how to have the conversation. I can tell you analytically what has worked the best for our membership in similar situations. I can provide all this analytical assessment insight that you and I can create a strategy of engagement. But the fact of the matter is, Scott, I cannot speak the words for you, right? And that just gets down to the point where, look, I didn't do your career progression design. I'm going to encourage you to do one, but that has to be yours. You have to own that. I can't talk to your wife over a glass of wine and say, hey, love of my life, what is important to us in this next phase of our life? Hey, you have to do that. I can tell you how to have the conversation, and I can tell you what needs to come out of that conversation and why that's important. Okay. But I can't have that conversation for you. You've got to own it. Right. And so to have a member arrive, we helped them negotiate their compensation. They got a great deal. It's, from our aspect, right, and interfacing, it seems like a good fit. But then to get there and go, I hope this is a good fit. I wish it would have been baked a little bit more, and I would know 100% for sure. And Blue Water could do a better job at that, right? I take offense to it, but
there's just it sounds like there's just, there's so many, like I was talking about with my client, the placement firms, the recruiters, they are trying to place you in a role, and their responsibility is to say, hey, I think you're a good fit for this particular role or company. And that's, you're coming out with a different approach where it's like,
they want to remove your decision-making authority, and I want to empower you.
Okay.
Right. I want to empower you. Don't give up your decision-making authority. This is how you navigate that. But at the end of the day, you have to do this. I'm going to be right there with you. Right. I'm going to tell you how to do it. It's like in the Navy, right? A wingman, they can snuggle up to you and I can answer all their questions for them and tell them how to do these things. But at the end of the day, they have to operate their own system. Right.
Yeah.
But I can help them. But man, you still have to do this.
And ultimately, your approach is, gets better results. It's not going to be 100% of the time. It might not be the first job after the military, but at least you're down the path of taking, more control over your decisions rather than just saying, hey, where's my next duty station?
Great results, right? And the 99% of our membership just is very appreciative. They love being a part of the network because, much like, the Amazon model, we too here at Blue Water are customer obsessed. We're obsessed with the well-being and the success of our customer. We know senior leadership come to us, and we're going to do everything in our power, right, to bring those successes to our members, current, future, and aspiring, right? I mean, we are that passionate about it. But, when you read something like that, and I know you've experienced that too, right, at US Vet Wealth, right? You're like, man, we're bending over backwards to try to do every single thing we can for you. And then just a little bit of lack of ownership of any of the responsibility of an individual's transition. You're like, well, yes, we are here for you. But at the end of the day, we're trying to teach you how to fish, right? Because we want you to become good at it. And we're going to share that approach and insight with you on how to do this, right?
Yeah. At the end of the day, that's kind of the point of retiring out of the military is, the benefits, aren't the same structured environment. The duty descriptions aren't the same, career paths. It's just, it really is a free for all out here in the real world. And hey, this is you and I learning what small business ownership's like.
It is,
it's just like, oh geez, we gotta find the right fit.
And
for who
I don't know, Scott, maybe this is being too transparent, right? Maybe this is going to shoot me in the foot or something, I mean, I would hate to do harm to the brand that we've worked so hard over the last 5 years to create value on. But at the end of the day, I still believe that actions and results speak louder than anything else. And I always tell people, I go, I don't want you to talk to me about the value of Blue Water. I'm not into sales. I don't want to do this. At the end of the day, here's 15 people that have been a part of the network for some period of time. Go talk to them and let them tell you there's value or not, right? That's really what I want to have happen, right?
No, and I think you're doing it. It's just what you're sharing is your passion of doing it right for people, and give them the tools they need. But at some point, you got to send them out the door. And
I guess I'm giving free advertising on my coffee cup with my IHOP coffee. I meet with a group on Wednesday mornings, right? And this morning we went to IHOP, and I got a traveler cup of coffee to go. So
get a stack of pancakes.
Free advertising, right? There we go.
So do you want to go through kind of your market analysis tips and approach?
I think it might be helpful, right? And Scott, I know you've got the document. You can kind of pull it up and scroll through it. And what I would offer up to any listeners, look, if you're interested in getting a copy of this, I would be happy to share it with you. Okay. And your market analysis, is really step 2 of the process that we talk about here at Blue Water, right? I mean, if you come to a cohort, members that have kind of been with us, I mean, in the morning, we talk about analytical overviews. We talk about numbers. We talk about percentages. We talk about those real world experiences of members just to get everybody in the right headspace. People walk through the door and they go, Mike, this is great. I'm happy to be at your end of your cohort on December 3rd. I just want to let you know, Mike, I've talked to the wife and the family, and we've decided that I plan to be going back to work right after the new year. Right. I mean, and I'm like, oh, okay. So you have a plan, and yep. I've already talked to the wife, and we've decided we're going to enjoy the holidays. But then right after that, I'm going to grab the job and I'm going to work. And I'm like, okay, who are you talking to? Nobody. What do you want to do? I'm not sure. What company are you looking at? Well, none, several, I would consider employing. I'm like, okay, well, and this goes to our very first message of the day, getting into the right mindset. And I go, on average, from the time you complete your career progression design and complete your market analysis here that we outline in this content, analytically, based on 500 people who are part of the Blue Water Network, it's going to take you 129 days, 4 months and 9 days until you get a signed offer letter. Well, Mike, that's completely not going to work for me. I've already told the wife that I'm going to work after the new year. Well, okay, March or April is after the new year, right? I mean, and they go, no. I'm talking in January, like on the 10th, man, I need to be going to work. And I'm like, okay, look, I get it. You have that desire, but let's analytically look at, statistically, how much time does this take, right? For members that look just like you, other retiring 05s, 06s, maybe an 07, maybe an 04, right? Analytically, we've got the data. This is about how much time it takes. So we get that mindset right, and then we step into the career progression design. And that is all about, what are the big rocks in your life, Scott? You're hanging up the uniform. Now you're stepping into the at-will work environment. What's important to you? And it might be something like, well, I need to live close to a freshwater stream with trout in it because I love fly fishing. Okay, maybe that's a big rock to you, right? Love that. Well, I need to be within 3 hours of aging parents because they are getting older and I got to be close. Okay, so that's a big rock. In other words, I don't know what the big rocks for you in your life. What's important for you, right? So you got to line that out. And if you don't do that, then when you get to step 3, which is this market analysis, or really step 2 in the process, this is how to assess a good fit, right? And members will come to us and they'll go, Mike, I'm so excited. I had a couple of conversations with this company in this area. And hey, here's a role and responsibility. And the conversation always starts like this: Mike, what do you think of this? And I'm like, doesn't matter what I think of it.
Mm-hmm.
My question to you is this a good fit for you? So this is why, I completely just was crushed a little bit when I was reading this commentary. We had this conversation with our members. I go, doesn't matter what I think. I said, but is it a good fit? And they go, well, what do you mean, Mike? And I go, hey, you remember these big rocks in your life? You said, I got to live close to a river. I got to be 3 hours from my parents. I got to make this much compensation. I got to do this thing. If you do this thing, does all of this stay in place? Right?
Yeah.
And if your answer to me is, well, some of it does, but some of it doesn't, Mike, then I'm going to say, hey, feedback from me to you, right? One of two things is possible, right? Either A, all these big rocks that you listed on your career progression, maybe they're not as big of a rock as what you think they are. Maybe they're not as important to you as what you thought they were. Go back and double check your list. Make a list. What is it? Make a list, check it twice, check it twice. Check your list twice, right? Are these really important to you? And if they are, then this thing that you're looking at may not be as good a fit as what you think it is, right? Mm-hmm. You with me?
Yeah.
So either this needs to be updated, or what you're looking at, you need to look elsewhere, right?
And Mike, you're not just talking about feedback. I know you're always saying, hey, they're talking to you, Mike. Mike, what do you think of this offer? They should use that approach. I'm assuming anybody they're getting feedback from. In the process.
Absolutely.
As they're networking. Hey, how was this for you?
We call it their inner circle, their outer circle, right?
Okay.
And it's invaluable. Now, again, senior leadership, our membership, that's typically the makeup. We tell them, hey, you're the voting member. You own the majority of the vote. I get that, right? You own it. But I still want you to solicit, right, that qualitative feedback from your inner circle, outer circle. And it's a really easy conversation to have, right? It might be something as simple as grabbing a position description and go, hey, Scott, what would you think if I did this job? And you'll look at it. And then you're going to give me some feedback. And you're going to say, Mike, I think you would hate that.
Yeah. Does this sound like me? No.
Scott, why would you say that? And you go, well, because Mike, you said you hate this organization. You don't like all the politicking and bureaucracy associated with the role and responsibility, or whatever it happens to be. In other words, you know me from my inner circle, right, or outer circle. You know me for a long period of time. You know the kind of person I am. You know what I'm passionate about. I'm going to ask you this question, and you're going to give me feedback that I may not be willing to admit to myself. Is that fair?
Oh, yeah.
Like, you're going to give me the unvarnished feedback. Mike, I think you would hate that. And I'm like, no, dude, Scott, look at this, and look how much they're going to pay me, and look at all these things. And you're going to go, yeah, you know what? I can't see you doing that. I think you would hate it, right? Analytically speaking, data and analytics, we know if our members show up and do something, if they are not fulfilled, if they if they get out of bed every morning and they are not in love with the company, the industry, the mission, vision, priorities of that effort, they won't stay. And money will not buy.
Yeah, I was about to say, you didn't mention the paycheck. The paycheck's never really the driving factor, right?
Not about. I mean, to a certain degree, we're all providers, and we have families, and we have to provide for our families, and I get that. But once you meet that threshold of being able to do that, having more, right, to build the war chest bigger might be appealing to some people, but having more in lieu of fulfillment and connection to the job, mission, vision, priorities, et cetera, of the industry and the company, you won't stay. And we've got the data. We know, right, that our members are this way. So this content that you pulled up, Scott, this market analysis, right, This is a great document, and it helps walk members through how to have this qualitative and quantitative deep dive. Because as we step into our career progression or transition, legacy term, right? We're going to start coming across these opportunities, and we're like a lake trout. We're just chasing shiny objects everywhere. They go, oh my gosh, I saw this thing on LinkedIn, or oh my gosh, I saw this job, or hey, I know a buddy of mine who just went to this company and he's there. Maybe I want to do that. And you're just running all around. And I'm going to tell you, you got to slow it down. And first things first, do your career progression design. What is your strategy? What is important to you in the next phase of your life? If you skip that, there is a forcing function in life. If you skip this and you don't do it, you increase the risk of having fast hands in the cockpit, grabbing something just to be in control, going to work. 3 days later, you're going to go, oh my God, what did I do to myself? I hate this.
Yeah.
I didn't look at it. I didn't deep dive it. I just stepped in. I didn't know what I, want to know. And here's the statistic, right? Hire Our Heroes does this, veterans in the workplace and longevity and everything. And we've been looking at this study since all the way back to 2018, and we have it every year. But here's a newsflash. The statistics don't change very much. And would you believe it's just under 50% of veterans, all services, all ranks, as they step into their next success, most of them don't stay, 8 to 10 months.
Wow.
They step in and they step right out. Now, for the listeners out there, let's lump it all and let's talk big numbers and just kind of rounding it here. Don't hold me exactly, but all services, all ranks, that's 200,000-ish people a year. So almost 100,000 of them step in. They go, nope, this isn't what I thought. And they step right back out. Man, that just breaks my heart. Now, is that the end of the world? No, right? But here's the thing that I want everybody to realize. There is a process that we want to walk you through that will help you avoid this. And you're saying, well, Mike, if it's not the end of the world, why do I want to avoid? We have members that struggle with this, Scott. There is an absolute mental health impact to choosing poorly. I hate it. I step out. Choose poorly again. I hate it. I step out. Now the mental health starts taking a beating, going, oh my God, I'm never going to find anything as much as enjoyable as what I was when I was in a squadron flying aircraft in the Navy, and nothing in the world is ever going to be fulfilling to me ever again. And you get into this real mental health impact. And that is a real thing for veterans, right? So how do you avoid that? Not saying 100% of the time, but we can help you reduce the potential for arriving at a poor decision. And how to do that? Understand the mindset. Go through a valid career progression design. Identify what's important to you in the next phase of your life. Then start looking for what is out there. And before you just grab something to be in control, make sure, right, this is a good fit and it balances and it aligns with your career progression design.
Yeah.
It's a mental health thing, Scott. It really is. And we see so many people struggle with this.
Well,
and they come to us and I just go through the process, right?
I've talking to grads over the years, I remember having a conversation with someone who wasn't excited. We always say, hey, what are you doing now? And we're just kind of like, I'm doing this or that. I already had the best job. It's like, dude, you're 40.
Yeah, you're 40 and you're telling me your life's over and it's never going to get better than this. I mean, come on.
And realizing that, you might not find the right fit because turns out there ends up being a better opportunity. And instead of moving out, you're moving up. So, look at it that way. There's a lot of ways to kind of reframe the opportunity. Hey, I'm just getting reps in. Hey, this was a bad drive. We went 3 and out. get them on the next run, you know. So
Exactly.
we can reframe it, and you know that's what I always encourage people to do is, you know, you got to find ways to look at the bright side, because at the end of the day, there isn't a detailer just sending you where to go. But
You know what? It's so true, right? There is no, for our Marine Corps listeners, there is no monitor. For the Navy, there's no placement, right? There's no detailer. There's no community manager on the Army. There's no assignments. Like, there's nobody, putting together this path for you. 100% of all of that.
and isn't that a blessing? Like, aren't
Well,
we excited about that? Like,
I
finally,
personally,
nobody's telling me where to
some
go.
people go, oh my gosh, it's a curse and now I'm going to struggle. Other people go, finally, I get to own all the decisions out there. And here's a newsflash for everybody. Like every single other person who never wore the cloth of the nation,
Yeah.
this is the world that they have grown up. This is the at-will work environment. They've been immersed into that environment. You're touching it now. And oh, by the way, right, your time and service was done. There are other ways that you can make contribution. Find those other methods to make contributions. And more importantly, to be fulfilled, right? Have meaningful work and still align with your career progression design. That's the key. And there is a process, right, that works for us. The second thing I just want to talk about, well, before I start talking about that, does that make sense? What questions you guys got? I don't want to cut you off.
No, we're good. We can move on.
Part of finding a good fit, and I have this conversation frequently, even this week, right? And it all comes back to networking, right? We talked about, networking effectively over the holidays and take advantage of this time and have some of these conversations. Well, early on, right, when a member just steps in to, terminal leave, they're hanging up the uniform, they're not going back, and they're going, okay, Mike, I'm ready to get a job. Hey, I got to start networking. Yep, I understand I got to start networking. And they network immediately with the intent to secure a job offer. And I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. Hang on. As you step into your initial networking conversations, Scott, I want you to recognize, and for all the listeners out there, I want them to recognize, it has very little initially to do, right, with landing an opening. Mm-hmm. More often than not, people are still struggling with, well, I don't know what I want to do when I grow up, right? We hear that all the time. Well, it's time for me to grow up. I don't know what I want to do. Or, hey, I'm stepping out. Man, I'm really not sure what I want to do. I'm going to encourage people to have a lot of networking conversations. But here's the difference. You're not networking to secure a role and responsibility. You're networking to better understand why the person you're talking with found success there, how they navigated to success there, right? What they find fulfilling about the role and responsibility, what challenges they see in the role and responsibility. So if I was having a conversation with you and, initially, and again, just outlining networking conversations, 30 minutes, have 3 to 4 well planned out questions, be respectful of the person's time, you schedule a meeting, don't be late, have the questions, right? And then, when it's done, wrap it up and leave it to them to extend it, right? That's kind of the guardrails. So as you and I would be having this conversation, I would ask you these questions, Scott. I would say, hey, Scott, what is it about working at US Vet Wealth that inspires you the most? What do you really enjoy about your current role and responsibility? Then I'm going to ask you, hey, Scott, what really challenges you about your current role and responsibility, right? If you had to change something, what would it be, right? Hey, Scott, where do you see yourself, in 3 to 5 years within this current role and responsibility? Hey, Scott, as you stepped into your own career progression or transition, talk me through, how is it that you navigated to US Vet Wealth? What did that path look like? And how did you arrive that this was a good fit for you? And the whole goal at the end of that conversation with you is I'm going to step back and I'm going to go, hey, you know what? I can see myself doing what Scott does. for this company. It sounds like a good company. Sounds like he's fulfilled. I could see this. Or I'm scratching this off my list. There's no way in the world I am going to work for this company in that capacity, right? I just can't see myself doing these things that Scott articulated, right?
Or that type of a role.
For that type of role.
Right.
And so these early networking conversations, I want members to embrace it. You're test driving that opportunity through introspective dialogue with somebody at the company. And you will find that members love having those conversations. Why? Because you're talking about you.
Yeah.
Right? It's anything about me. It leaves a favorable impression on you. You tell me exactly what you love about the role and responsibility. I'm excited to hear it. And now I'm trying to make an assessment on, hey, should I pursue this company maybe potentially later for a role and responsibility? Or am I going to scratch it off the list? Hey, I just can't see myself doing that.
Mike, let me ask you this about those types of networking conversations, because there's a lot of well-meaning people out there that will come at those conversations saying, here's what you should do. You should do this. You should do that. Do this first. Talk to and they start to kind of just want to live vicariously through your transition, all the things maybe they wish they had done, and it may or may not apply. Is there risk out there for just taking, blanket direct advice?
Yeah, I like to say it like this, right? I mean, and resumes are a great thing. Everybody in the landscape has something to say about a resume. Hey, here's my resume. Make yours look like mine. Hey, this worked for me. Why don't you try that? And advice on how to navigate your career progression is no different, right? You're going to find there is a lot of input. Now, I would be naive and I would be, remiss if I did not acknowledge that there may be some good advice out there, right? I mean, I'm not saying that we corner the market on good advice. We do have good advice, but I know there's other sources of it out there. But this is how we talk about this to our members. Every single one of our members that step through the door, think about it. They're senior leaders. They've been wearing the uniform 20, 25, 30 plus years. They are wicked, keen judges of BS, right? I mean, they can assess credibility in a nanosecond. They may not know how to build the aircraft carrier or build the aircraft or design it or whatever, but our senior leaders can sit in a room and listen to somebody pontificate on something, and they can know in about 8 seconds whether or not that person's credible or not. They may not have the beeps and squeaks behind it or whatever, but they can go, you know what? My gut tells me that this guy is just off the mark, and his whole approach, the way he's talking about it, man, he's just off the mark, right? And I encouraged them. I said, don't lose that. You have spent your lifetime in uniform developing a critical eye on information that's being bestowed upon you. Don't lose that. You're going to step into your career progression. You're going to step into transition. People are going to be coming to you going, this is what I think you need to do. Hey, do this, make yours look like this, go here, do this. And ask yourself, is the person giving you the advice, have they ever been a hiring manager before? Are they employed with a company in the particular role and responsibility that they're trying to give you advice on, right? Have they found success? Have they had to review stacks of resumes in order to find and assess the best fit of talent, right? Those are real skill sets out there. Mm-hmm. And what we tell our members is if you get yeses to most of those questions, you may be in receipt of some good advice. But here's the thing. If somebody is just pontificating and just going, hey, but you're going, well, nope, you're not a hiring manager. Nope, you haven't really found success out there. Yep, you're just kind of, yeah. You may just want to say thank you and move on, right? I would highly recommend not taking on board, bad advice, because there is a ton of bad advice out there. Yeah. And I don't think it's nefarious. I think
Bad advice for you individually. It might be good advice for somebody else,
somebody
right?
else,
Yeah,
maybe, right? And
yeah.
most people want to think they're helping, but are they really helping? In some instances, no, they're not, right? So we just tell our members, keep your critical eye, assess the information that's coming to you, right?
Yeah,
Just before you put a 90-degree bend in your game plan and move in a complete new direction based on some not current, relevant, or credible information that's being bestowed upon you. Because think about it this way, Scott. Anybody in the world can give you a list of what they think you need to do. I don't need any experience. I don't need any professional expertise. I don't need anything. I just need an opinion. Hey, Scott, I think you need to do this, right? But can the people that are giving you this information tell you how to do it? And more importantly, why they're recommending you do this thing, right? Or take this approach. If they can fill in those two blanks, you likely have some credibility there. Does that make sense? I mean, you're just filling in that portion of the discussion that's going to tease out the credibility of the deliverable, right? Of the message they're trying to get. Anybody can give you a list of what they need to do or what they think you should do, right? Very few people can fill in this is why you're doing it and this is how you're going to do it and here's why, right?
Cool. Well, let's spend just a couple minutes here at the end because I actually got to run here shortly. But just breeze. It's
almost through. Christmas. Have you got your Christmas shopping done, Scott?
I'm not. I'm not a gifter.
Oh, you're not a Scrooge, are you?
It's not that. It's just, when it comes to birthday, like I don't expect birthday presents, Christmas presents.
Well, I think we all, with regard to birthdays, right? After about age 11, we just kind of stopped counting.
It gets kind of exhausting. And anyways, Jen and I are both from the same page with that. She does a present for herself each year. She just went up to the Museum of the Bible in DC, and that's kind of our
nice.
Gift.
Hey, did she enjoy that? Was that we'll have to talk offline on that.
Yeah, it was real cool.
Check that out. Yeah, that's awesome.
So if you haven't been up there, go check it out. But yeah, so we don't have to dive deep into this. Obviously, this document is available, and you've hit on all the main points. Of course,
it's pretty much what we've been talking about.
Just to show people, kind of what's inside. Give you a chance, some details on. All right, what if you are doing a detailed analysis of a company? Here's some wave tops to hit, just to make sure you're aware and give you more info as you're going into those networking conversations. Things to be aware of. Anything in specific you want to hit on a little bit deeper in here?
I'm looking at it here, right? A lot of it. The article is aimed at the quantitative deep dive, right? Okay. Which is when you look at a company, understanding as much about the company as what you can. And a lot of this content, this document will walk you through sources to access to gain that type of information, which is absolutely an important part of your market analysis, right? I mean, and then the qualitative side of this is really that introspection, right? Having those conversations with your inner and outer circle, your trusted mentors, saying, hey, what do you guys think about me doing a role and responsibility like this? Which that's feedback to you on fulfilling the role. But the quantitative deep dive is, okay, let's understand what makes this company tick. How does it generate profit and loss? What are the products or services that this company does, right? These are things you should be knowledgeable on before you step out and start having networking conversations, right? So, yeah, if for anybody that's listening, if you want a copy of that, reach out to me or Scott. Happy to shoot it to you. You can take a look at it.
Yeah, and you've also got your career progression guide available for download right on the Blue Water website.
It's at the top. Yep, 12 o'clock position. People can download it, access it there. And I'm working on the 2026 career progression guide.
Good update. Right on.
Yeah,
And
a lot of lessons learned from this year. So,
what cohorts still have spots available this year or next year?
so many probably saw that Steve Weeman and we opened up an additional cohort in January.
Okay.
We just opened it up on Wednesday, the 28th of January. So we reached out to Booz Allen. They're a great partner. They said, yes, you can come in. We can support you on facilities. We've had increased demand because pretty much, with the exception of one or two seats here or there, we're full
Yeah.
through July. And oh, by the way, I just had a conversation with a member yesterday. We're starting to take registrations for the Naval Academy visit already, Scott, back in September. And put that on your calendar because we'll be headed back up there mid-September, right?
No,
And
great. Yeah, I had been having good conversations with people from the last one. And
yeah,
speaking of Naval Academy, we had the big Army Navy game.
we did. It was a nail biter, right? It was so close.
It was here. Let me show you a photo of what. Or hold on.
Yeah, I thought it was a good game, and I think at the end of the day that we just want a good game, right?
Yeah. No, I wanted to show you
one time a year where we come together, right, and we're head to head kind of thing. But for those that have never wore the uniform, right? I mean, outside of this, when we're far away, in some land, it's joint operations, right? We're coming together. Wow, look at that.
So this is me with Scott Gray here.
Okay.
He goes to my gym as well. He's I don't know what year, he's a few years older than me. He went to the Naval Academy. I was the only West Point guy there. And then
so they put you in the middle.
Yeah, a bunch of young. I think a lot of these graduated like last year or the year before. So they were real young. They knew some of the players on the field and everything, but
oh, nice.
We had a fun time, and yeah, I came out the loser. But yeah, it was no, it was a close.
Dude, it was only by 1 point, right? It was close. It was
that
good
fumble.
Game.
That fumble at the end that he caught it and managed to be down. That was just. Yeah. I mean, at least it was fun to watch right to the end.
Absolutely, it was a good game. I'll be honest with you. Going into halftime, man, I was shaking my head. I was like, "Oh my gosh!" Right?
Yeah, I mean to be fair, we kind of blew some good opportunities.
But it was a good game. Well, Scott, I just want to tell you and all the listeners and everybody out there, listen, Merry Christmas. I want everybody to enjoy the holidays, right? And I guess for you and I guess we'll come back up after the holiday season sometime in January, I guess, right? Is that the plan?
I actually do have a gift for you.
Oh, what are you talking about? Come on, we don't do gifts.
No. I mean, it's, I don't know. You a Scotch drinker?
Well, I've been known to.
Have you been known? Okay.
Yeah.
So like 15 years ago, when I was living in Germany, all my buddies there, we went in on a barrel of a custom. We got to choose the ingredients and everything.
Oh my gosh.
And it's been marinating there in Scotland for all that time. And my
Are you serious?
Yeah, my friends just went and picked it up. And so now I got 20 bottles of scotch that I'm not going to drink. So I would love to give you that. So
I would be honored, sir. And yes,
I gift in a different way. It's like it can be about Christmas or your birthday or just whatever. But
well,
it is
I'll tell everybody, Scott and I like to get together because we like to go and get the meat sweats on to some barbecue joint someplace, right? That's always fun. We'll have to do that in the new year as well, too.
Yeah, if anybody's going to give me a gift, you can just give me some meat and I'll be good.
I love it, man. I do wish you and Jen the best. You guys, great partners in this. Love our discussions. Love all of this. Thanks, lad. Merry Christmas, sir.
Yeah.
And best to you and Jen, Scott. Love the partnership and love all we do, right? And really, helping our members navigate more effectively and efficiently through their transition, right? That's what it's all about, helping the home team. So
yes, sir. No, it's fun. Obviously, we have fun doing it, and that's what fills us up, gives us a purpose.
Yeah,
and
good.
yeah, love being a resource when when it comes up, when
Absolutely.
it's going to be different for everybody. Every day there's a new retiree getting out going,
Yeah.
what do I do
Yeah.
about this? What do I do about
And
that?
we're
So
here. And the great thing
really
about it is we get more analytics, more insight, right? Year for year. And can you believe we're starting our 6th year, January, year 6 for Blue Water? Crazy.
Yeah, I think it was January of
2021 when we kicked it off.
when I first showed up to one of those cohorts.
Yeah.
I think your first one.
Yeah. You're a
Crazy.
plank owner, as we like to say in the Navy.
Me and an extra 100 pounds of me at the time.
You're much healthier now, Scott. Yeah. Fantastic.
Wow. All right, guys.
Sir.
Yeah,
Be
thanks
well.
for joining us. We'll see everybody in the new year. Have a Merry Christmas. Stay safe
Merry
out
Christmas.
there and enjoy time with friends and family.
Awesome. Be well.
Don't eat too much candy.
No.
All right, take care.